What we will speak about is the digital platform for driving safety, with a focus on the missing piece of the connected car puzzle. I'm Liron Cohen-Yanay, and I'm the VP of New Customer Engagement at GreenRoad. So not many people know, but I had a license to drive a tank. Why? This is for another presentation. But I've always loved car and driving and was determined to find ways to make driving safer and cleaner. That's why when I first heard about Better Place, a pioneering electric car initiative 10 years ago, I was looking to join this brilliant group of people. There were many challenges back in the days, but one I was very much interested in was the driver experience. As drivers were transitioning to electric vehicles, there were some adjustments that they needed to make to their driving behavior. For instance, when you drive an electric car, and we're speaking on 2011, there is an element of new technology, charging habits, for instance, but also battery range. You suddenly need to address. There wasn't much information about it out in the market, and for 3 years I led research team focused on how to transition drivers to headsets that would keep them safe and happy from the new experience. They are part of a vision. In addition to the right tools for helping them adopt eco-driving methods to extend their range and not just emissions. Better Place was ahead of its time probably, and we could speak on it in another webinar. But for me, it was formative. It led me to fall in love with the automotive industry and specifically smart mobility. And it led me to GreenRoad, a company totally focused on driver behavior as the key to solving the safety puzzle. Why? Because of the basic fact, 94% of accidents are caused by human error. Even when the vehicle is perfectly maintained, whether it's powered by gas or electricity, aggressive, careless, and distracted driving are the main causes of an accident. When you understand this simple fact, you begin to look at the driver differently. You realize that it's in your best interest to make your drivers your partners, to empower them with the right tools and to make them part of a solution. What I'm talking about here is tools for self-management of driving safety, motivation, ongoing training, coaching, and that's mainly currently in commercial fleets. Once drivers are engaged and empowered, concrete results follow, often within weeks, by the way. For example, when you understand this simple fact, you begin to look at the driver differently. You realize that they need to be your partner. One example is our partner, which is Rory Morgan. Rory is Iron Mountain head of logistics for UK and Ireland. And Iron Mountain is a document storage company with fleet throughout UK, US, and Latin America. He's saying there wasn't anything on the market that we'd seen that was driver behavior. It was first and foremost the reduction of risk. And this is a paramount factor in their decision. And this is an important piece to understand because eventually they realized 80% reduction in their accidents. We know that risk was falling down because they also received 36% reduction on their insurance premiums. Another partner that we like working with, and this is Go Ahead Group in Singapore, they saw accidents and insurance reserves plummet due to its focus on driver behavior. And along with it, they increased passenger comfort and satisfaction. The use of the unique technology helped them reduce accidents by 40%. We were looking for ways to reduce our collisions, to improve our insurance reserves, and also to have smoother ride for customers who use our buses day in and day out, says Andrew. And I believe this sums up the challenges that every company involved in passenger transportation is facing. It doesn't really matter if you're driving a bus or a taxi or any shared mobility vehicle. It's crucial for to provide smooth ride for your passengers. Other transportation categories also benefit from smooth ride, like delivery of high-ticket, delicate, or fragile goods. In fact, when you improve driver and driving behavior, you trigger a ripple effect of benefits, starting with a reduction of risk, accidents, followed by reduction in maintenance costs, insurance premiums, fuel consumption, and emission, and spreading to customer satisfaction, as we mentioned. It's much more. The list goes on and on with this ripple effect. You know, we can think about it in reverse. Poor driving leads to accidents, wasted fuel, damaging emissions, damage to your reputation, and eventually risk. It's all risk. So what is the information we need to present to drivers or any driving platform to assure this result? As you probably know, there are devices installed in many vehicles, specifically fleet vehicles today. And the question being asked is, don't connected car solutions monitor driving safety parameters? Yes, but it is partial. Specifically, fleet vehicles that have in some kind of installments today have devices which report rudimentary data about driver behavior, mostly harsh braking, acceleration, speed, idling time. Our experience shows that this is not sufficient to make real change in driving behavior. And this is why. When we look at the risk pyramid, most of the common measurements are focused on the red layer, the risky incidents. Yes, if we reduce the number of risky incidents, we will end up having fewer close calls, minor and major crashes. But what if we make it or take a proactive approach and eliminate the risk at the base? If we identify, monitor, and coach for smaller driving errors, we will have fewer risky events. Together with fewer ride comfort events, the small maneuvers that impact passenger sense of safety and comfort will get good results. That's why GreenRoad measure maneuvers of varying severities across 5 categories: speeding, acceleration, lane handling, braking, and cornering. This also includes compound events like braking into turn. What emerges from this full picture of driving behavior that enable us to provide specific instructions to drivers on how to improve automatically and help them guide trainers in where to focus with efforts, where they need to intervene. In that example that I just mentioned, the braking into turn, the driver approached the turn too fast, not adjusting to the road, understanding what's going on from conditions point of view. Fixing it can be easy. And once there is an awareness and engagement, you're on the right road to success. Measurements are taken by proprietary event detection mechanism that can be implemented in various digital solutions. Originally, we implemented this in a black box. We're GreenRoad, so it was a green box, but it's currently being used by hundreds of thousands of drivers globally every day. It is what we use in various types of operations and industries when they require an installed solution. Several years ago, we created a software-only mobile version of our solution, the proprietary event detection mechanism, and that was to support emerging use cases. So now it can be deployed quickly on any mobile phone or tablet. And tomorrow, the sky's the limit. It can be offered as part of any digital platform, whether an infotainment system, a ticketing machine, any type of device or tablet, or dashboard of a vehicle with the right sensors. The fact that we measure subtle maneuvers, not just harsh maneuvers, is the key to achieving a smooth ride. This is critical for customers that need to deliver good passenger experience. That's why more than 20% of the buses in the UK today are fitted with GreenRoad technology. It's almost important when fragile goods needs to be delivered as well. For example, one of our customers, and that's in the US, who distributes premium alcohol, that has been using the platform for 7 years now, and they have shown a reduction in cost of claims by 80%, with much of the saving due to reduced breakage. Most of these companies are self-insured, so the benefits are even greater. Of course, every insurer would like to see this kind of savings from their fleets and in their portfolio. Another key element for success, and that is even easier when you're using mobile platform, is direct communication with the driver, but real-time feedback in the vehicle, and also the data. So drivers get insights and they can understand what happened during their journey. They can review it after it ends. Drivers can see it all using their smartphones. The approach and language that we're taking here is engaging and it's motivating. We use risk scores, rankings, friendly competitions that you can see here, and our global fleet elite recognition program to keep them to keep the drivers motivated. They're waiting for it every year, and it continues to improve their own safety. I'd like to give you an example, and that's pretty much from these days, to show how important it is to work with the drivers and to give them the data and the trends and the information. During COVID-19, we were engaged with a pilot with a food and beverage company. We started in February, so when COVID-19 situation led to a lockdown, they continued working. In the first few weeks of the pilot prior to the lockdown, we saw reduction in the risk level. Drivers started to self-improve due both to in-vehicle feedback and also to their ability to control their own status and to have access to all the data and see it with their own eyes, which improved also their buying. They are part of the game. Of course, management made it clear at the beginning of the pilot that this is the policy they would like to follow. But then the lockdown was announced. Management stopped, or it was very difficult for them to give attention, to pay attention to the pilot. The whole global atmosphere changed overnight. There wasn't anything that we as people, each and every one of us, knew that we could compare the situation to. So we saw the risk going up. So at least drivers, at the beginning, drivers got off track, but our system helped them get back on track once they started receiving push notification, letting them see with their own eyes that what's happening to their risk scores and how they could improve. The trend reversed. So we ended up showing a reduction of risk of more than 30% in just a few weeks during Corona time. That's huge. It's worth mentioning that when we came to the fleet, they were using another telematics system that also provides with monitoring of driving style. But they still have had accidents, and this is why the insurance company brought us in for the pilot. Once we empowered the drivers, we gave them the right data and the real-time feedback. We gave them access to information and performance and the risk and specific guidance. The trends is going on, the trends are going down. We went into really good results, even though we were during Corona time when things happen. So that's, I think, the basics of our solution. We spoke about technology and also how we work with the drivers. Moving to a digital platform has allowed us to become part of the digital transition of several industries. They're spending much time and money to digitalize all aspects of their operations. And road safety is another significant aspect. This is a missing link, a huge safety risk factor that is not always being addressed. For example, oil and gas companies are investing a lot of money in sensors to enhance every aspect of their field drilling operations. And as part of the process, identified groups are then exposed to high risk and being monitored. Company cars today there and drivers, employees are mostly monitored from a safety aspect. However, there is a huge center of risk in their operation that with drivers and vehicles they do not own. They are integrated, there are third parties, contractors. This entire industry is built with contractors. And in some cases, contractors weren't monitored. In others, they had their own local solution that was integrated into one consolidated platform at the headquarters. A lot of time and money was invested just to support installations and devices in various countries. But the risk levels and safety challenges led companies like Chevron and Schlumberger and others to us. For example, in 2019, Schlumberger deployed our app on the mobile phones of thousands of drivers in 80 countries. Not only can they track all the drivers, but their accidents are going down, and with them the risk and the emissions. More and more industries are moving in this direction every day. Well, I think that oil and gas is not the only industry working with contractors, and I have a feeling that in the coming month, when the world will recover from COVID-19, and will be after that, we'll see many contractors and third-party providers in the supply chain, in retail, in oil and gas, in transportation. There will be many contractors. And they're going to move to, if you move to a digital platform that enables quick deployment and onboarding, together with driver coaching, that will be huge because you can provide it only when they work for you and when they're on your shift. They don't have to be constantly deployed and then just to extract the relevant data. That also supports expenses reports and other. And this is an important part. To be able to address or to identify only the instances where the contractor was at your service. We spoke about the solution, and we spoke about the approach, and now understand that is available on digital platforms with mobile solution. So when we come to summarize the presentation, and of course I'll be happy to answer any question afterwards. Data from the solution and what we gather and what we have, of course, can be shared and integrated with many other providers of the ecosystem service. Imagine if we can share the driver behavior data with fleet maintenance services. Maybe we can adjust the maintenance policy so we not only track the vehicle with its mileage and engine hours. We can do maintenance policy based on the way it's been driven. Imagine if I can share the driver behavior data with my insurer. When I have several drivers sharing the same vehicle, we're all driving the same vehicle, we can have differentiated program based on the actual driver and the actual time I'm driving, also day, night, or whatever. What if I can analyze the data in terms of GreenRoad 15 years database of driver behavior to identify driver risk ID? This can support the last industry I want to mention today in our presentation, the insurance space, which has its own buzzword today, Insurtech. Our system provides the detailed level of data that is needed to support differentiating new insurance products and offering. Everything becomes more personalized today, everything. So we can move from the UBI that started years ago to pay as you drive, which already exists, to actual manage how you drive offerings, which become possible when you give drivers feedback in real time and they actually can access the data and manage the way they drive. These are dynamic offerings that allow premiums to change based on driver behavior, combined with proactive elements that enable the insurance company to actually step in to improve driving styles, resulting in reduced accidents and related costs. Another challenge of the insurance company is how to maintain the safest drivers. When you have a built-in mechanism of engagement, like gamification, this is part of the language. You can connect it to various incentive schemes, rewarding good drivers and incentivizing them to stay in your portfolio. If you go back to what type of driving behavior we identify, the deep insights and variety of behaviors is what help us create the driver risk ID, along with our experience with drivers for many years. This enable us to provide the support insurance companies need to create the innovative new offerings that they are looking into new digital endeavor, and to still make profit eventually. So we're getting to the end of the presentation, and as you can see, many of the world's most safety-oriented companies, ranging from oil and gas and bus and coach industries to field services and corporate fleets, understand the value of our unique focus on driver behavior. This is working today out there in the field. They're focusing on driver behavior, create great value to the automotive industry as well. There are many players in the ecosystem that are benefiting from having the data and the program and our experience in safety. Come meet me at the Q&A session. We can continue the conversation and think together how we can improve driving safety.